Hi everyone, welcome to Sunya IAS. In this lecture, we are starting with the new part of your ancient history series where we are discussing the entire NCERT from class 6 to 12th. And if you remember, in the last class, we discussed few basics of the ancient history where we followed few flowcharts, right? And there we understood what was Stone Age and how it was different from the Metal Age, how the life began on the Indian subcontinent, right? So that was covered in the last class, and today's lecture is focused on the proto-history part, the part where you have some historical records, you can have few literary records, but those written records are not deciphered. Okay, and even if they are deciphered, we are not able to understand them clearly. Few confusions are still there. That's why that is proto-history, where we will discuss the Indus Valley civilization, of course, and also few parts of the early Vedic era. Okay, so that will be covered. Now, in the last class, what we discussed, let's connect it from the there. If you remember, we discussed how can we divide the sources of the history, and we discussed that it can be archaeological evidences or the literary records. If we have the literary records, then that can be divided into two parts: secular literature or religious literature, right? And I also gave you all the examples and points where you can divide the types of archaeological evidences and the types of literary records. Fine. Now, the most important point is that yesterday we covered this part of religious literature and secular literature, where I gave you few examples like the Raj Tarangini, right? That is not a religious literature, that will be a secular literature. Then, if you see in these kind of objects, we saw that people used to have some, things, some artifacts, some kind of materials, pots, which they used to have in their daily life, and they are quite evident today because we can even see it, feel it, and we can even, just by touching it, relive that life of history and consider that how the lifestyle would be, right? So if you remember, we made a small flowchart of what? Of the part of prehistory. Fine. Now we will make one more flowchart today. There, your chapter 2, 3, 4, and almost 3-4 chapters of class 6 NCERT, class 11th and 12th NCERT will be covered. Fine. So I told you that we had a transitional age, which was known as the Mesolithic age, in which we decided to start a settled life. Okay, but life got settled in the Neolithic age. But the idea of starting it, domestication, agriculture, fishing, those starting initial stages got introduced in the Mesolithic age itself. Fine. So, this chapter was covered where hunting, gathering, and growing food was taken into consideration. This is a very important map also, which you need to remember. If you are new, just try to take screenshots, or I'll just share all the kinds of PDFs with you. Don't worry about it. We also discussed about the sites. We also discussed how a new way of life came when we saw the Neolithic age. Because in the Neolithic age, we had polished stone tools, we had surplus agriculture. That's why we had to keep potteries also, granaries also. And then with the making of potteries, we discovered wheel also. Because initially wheel made potteries were there. So in in that case only we understood that accidentally if we just move it vertically, we can find a wheel, and that will be useful for the travel, right? After this new way of life, we see that people had a new way of civilization where you don't run every day. Okay, getting civilized means what? Means you have a stable life, you have a stable mind, and you think about other things. Like you just don't have to run for the food every day. Hunting and gathering was now not the way of life. Yes, people were doing it. Even today we have few nomadics, right? Even in this modern time, we have many tribal groups, but that is their own will of doing it. That is their own choice. By choice they are doing it. Okay. So we need to understand that if they are doing it for choice, then that is not part of our major civilization or the modern world. It's their own choice. However, we have a settled life, which is a great updated life, you can say. Fine. So now what happened that for a very long time people started living. People started living in the same area. Okay. So they started taking care of their plants, they started taking care of their gardens, agricultural land in the Neolithic age. So basically, when you settle down, you have a complete area of land, you have everything which you need to take care. So you will have a sense of insecurity now. Because whenever you get some possessions, if you have something, then only you will be tensed, then only you will be stressed about maintaining it, about keeping it very secured, safe and clean, about not getting it stolen by someone, right? So then the concept of religion, society became very important. Okay, before this time we had no concept of religion, we had no concept of society. The concept of band was there. Okay, there is a difference. When you have a band, when you're living in a group, and in a group you decide to go for the hunting gathering, you need to contribute and participate with the group. And if band is considered, it is more about survival. Okay, it is more about survival and creating opportunities, living together. But when you go and move into a tribe, you will see some kind of differences. In tribe and in society, you have many new changes. It is all about emotions now. It is all about legitimacy now. It is all about rights now. So that will be considered. It's not about survival, because survival is easier here in the society, because people had surplus agriculture. People had a better way of living. People had a better technology now. They had a better house also. So their condition, their standard of living increased, and that's why they knew that we have a better sense of understanding for everything. We don't need a band now. We need a proper society. So the concept of religion came. Why this concept was required? Just understand that a man is there who is having a good amount of land, cattle, and he is having all the kind of possessions for a good happy life, you can say, where you don't need to worry about the food and things like that. Now this man will always want that all my land, all my resources goes to my legitimate hire, my son, okay, my kids, only my children should have the benefit of enjoying it. Okay, whatever I saw in my life, the level of struggle which I went through should not pass on to my children. They should enjoy a successful life where they have a good balance, they have a good amount of land with them, and they can start a new journey from there, and they will take it to a new level. Now how will he ensure this, that everything is legitimate, his family is really secured? Because at that time, understand, the concept of religion is majorly for curbing the sexuality of women. Okay, it is not for the society, peace, spirituality. It will come in a very later stage. Understand why the concept of religion was imposed on the women. Why the concept of society came. Society, चार लोग देखेंगे तो क्या कहेंगे? Okay, if you will behave like this, people will not consider you right. Society will boycott you. Why? Understand, the concept of religion, the concept of society came because at that time, biologically, it was not easy to prove that from where the kid is coming, from where the child is born. So if a woman decides to have a relationship, affair, love, or anything kind of attraction with any opposite gender, nobody will be able to detect that is it coming from the family's head, that man or her husband, or is it someone else. So there was no way of discovering it. There was no way of identifying it. DNA testing or paternal test was not, discovered yet. People were not aware about it. So it was hard to know biologically about the father or the, kids, and it was not easy to curb the diseases also, because we know that there are many contagious diseases which get spreaded by these kind of physical relations. Fine. So for the health issue also, or you can say for the health insurance, or for the well-being of society, and for this man who is trying to give all his things, entire earning of his life, to his son, who wants or who wishes to pass on to it to the next generation, will have no idea about the, family and the, security of all these passing ons. Fine. So it was very easy and important to control the women, because if they will not control the sexuality of women, then the society will be like a dog like society, where there are no rules, there are no regulations, and even they can, suffer from many different contagious diseases. So to keep the society secured, they thought to introduce few ideas religiously on the women, so that they could control her. Okay. And then it will ensure that biologically only the, legitimate kids are born, and a man is passing on his generational wealth to his own higher, to his own successor, biological successor, not someone from any other man or any other place, just because he's trusting his wife. No. So the concept of this, legitimacy, generational wealth, successors became very important in the Neolithic age. Fine. And then the society also saw a rise of discrimination. Why? Because as I told you that after the Neolithic age, we had the Chalcolithic age, where copper was the first metal to be discovered. As it is a metal, so it is very limited resource. It's not easy to find it anywhere or wherever you want. So ultimately, for the limited resource, there will be a fight. Even today, what is economy? You read economy. What do you study in economy? The basics of economy is what? That we have limited resource and unlimited demands. So we need to fulfill those demands now. However, it's not possible to completely fulfill all the demands, but you can have a plan, right? So that you can satisfy maximum needs of the people. That is economy. So at that time also, people knew that the metal is a very limited resource. And if they really want to grow in life, they need metal. So to get something which is limited, they started fighting. And the hoardings, the, procurement will start now. That who will have more metals, who will have more resources, who can have a better piece of land, right? So this kind of competition started growing in the society, which was not there in the Paleolithic and Mesolithic age. But this competitive mindset came up in the Neolithic age. Fine. So here, what we discussed, let's just try to connect it from there only. So now, a man had many responsibilities. He had the responsibility of plants, watering, weeding, driving away animals and birds till the grains are ripened. So it's a very long, tedious task. He needs a person to trust. He needs a person to have a partnership in doing all these things and enjoying the wealth. So he will need a wife. He will need someone who can always assist a man in doing all these things, and that life partner should be very trustworthy. You can't just ask anyone to help you and, enjoy these things with you. No. So that's why at that time, people started making social customs very important. They never used to break the social customs and the cultural traditional points. Like today you will see that, for example, I'll just give you a small example. There are many fasting festivals in India. One of the fasting festival is a very common one, which is Karwa Chauth, in which a woman fasts for the longevity of life of her husband. Fine. Now I have seen that in few of the families, the mother-in-law, she understands that it's not very easy to keep such a long fast whole day, and without water it will be very hard to keep up to that particular level of mentality and things. So she started giving some kind of you can say soft rules for her daughter-in-law, that now you can have water at least. If you want, you can have tea in the evening. Don't keep fast for such a long time. I understand that it's very hard. So I will release few rules and regulations from you, and I'll try to make it easier for you so that you continue the culture also, and you keep things at the family point of view in a very intact way, so that the next generation will learn from you. And we are trying to ease it, normalize it, just because it's important with the changing life, with the increasing pollution, with the increasing networkings. It's very easy and important to understand that what you can follow and how to follow. So we change few rules, right? Many of the religious customs are not being followed with that level of strict mentality today. I see people doing few things and they say that, okay, whatever is is something which I'm capable of doing, that only I can do. God will understand. So we have tried easing the things, right? We make it easy as per today's life. But at that time, people, they were not easing it. Why? It was too strict at that time because it was hard to know the biological truth. Medical science was not there. It was not easy to detect the lie. It was not easy to know the truth. Medically, it was not that level of progress in the society. The society was still very backward medically. But today we have science. We have medical facilities. That's why these ease of formalities are here. Right? Because we have different ways of detecting and knowing and understanding things today. We don't need to depend on the society for everything. But at that time, people were dependent on the society, so that their own possessions are intact. Right? So here what happened, for all these tedious tasks, a family was needed. Grains were procured, they were stored, because grains can be used as a seed, as a food, as gift, and stored for food also. Even you will see that in the Shraddh time, when Shraddh is there, or when some kind of festival is there, people can donate grains also. People, they donate grains, and sometimes if they go to a marriage in the rural areas, it is very common that instead of giving gifts or giving cash to someone, they still give grains. If they have a good agricultural land, they will bring different kind of grains with them, and they will give to the bride or groom to in a marriage home, that okay, this is from our side. It is still continuing. So grains can be given as a gift also. Now what happened, that when we saw these Neolithic sites, we had many stone tools. Okay. And if you look at the sharpness, if you look at the structure, the texture, it improved a lot. Okay. So many of these are different from earlier Paleolithic tools, and that is why they are called Neolithic. right? These include the tools that were polished now. They had a fine cutting edge. Okay, nokile hain, very fine cutting edge, and mortars and pestles were also found. So what is mortar and pestles? Have you seen silvatta in which we make chutney? Okay, so to make chutneys or to grind something, you can have a big stone and then a smaller stone on top of it, which you can rub on a bigger stone and grind something. People used to have it in at that time. Even today we have in the modern kitchens also. You can find it. I have it in my home. I don't know if you have it. Even Oakley, if you know, where you can have a pot like metal pot, okay, and a metal stick, you can say, not stick but a big level of hammering stick, and that will be used to beat the grains which is inside the pot. So that is Oakley. Fine. So these kind of mortars and pestles were used now in the Neolithic age, which shows that people understood the idea of grinding things, and they understood that how to use it. Now when all these knowledges came, so definitely we will have cities now, right? So we have a city life. Even today we can see different kind of cities where we follow grid system. Sometimes we have a system of roads, interconnecting roads. So these roads, highways, the things which you see today will be found in the earlier society also, and you will be able to see that in the earliest societies and civilization it was way more hygienic and the infrastructure was better. The planning was way much better than today. So in the earlier cities we will dive into, and before I just go to it, I want you to imagine that a heavy rainfall is there in Gurgaon, which is a very good developed area. Okay, Gurugram, in Delhi or in Mumbai. Have you seen in the news what happens? In rainy seasons, we see that roads are blocked. A big level of traffic jam is there because water is blocked. The flow of water is not clearly, completely defined. The underground drains, they get blocked. Regular cleanings are not done. And it is happening in all the cities. In Bangalore, in Delhi, in Mumbai, in Gurugram, everywhere this problem is so common. And it shows how bad level of infrastructure we have, which is a complete show off of high buildings and big lights. But if any disaster comes, they are not disaster proof. They are not even waterproof. But in the time of Indus Valley civilization, it was not like that. Things were different, and the life was very much stable and peaceful. So let's talk about it. We had Harappan cities. Now why we call it Harappan civilization? Because Harappa was the first city to be discovered. That's why Indus Valley civilization is also known as Harappan civilization. So Harappan cities were very well planned. They had a grid system. Only in Banavali in Haryana, radial pattern was found. Otherwise, in all other cities, we had grid system. All houses were built of burned bricks. It means that they had a good knowledge of construction also, and they were of good quality. The most imposing construction of Indus Valley civilization is Great Bath at Mohenjodaro. Okay, very important. Great Bath at Mohenjodaro. Here you can see this Great Bath. There was a big, area, and so many rooms were surrounding it. Even today, there is no leakage and seepage in this Great Bath. Even if you look at the city was divided into two parts. The western part had the citadel, and the eastern part had the lower town. So in citadel, only big people, aristocrats used to live, like rulers and rich people. But in the lower town, we had common people living in the lower town. So common people used to stay in the lower town. Now, a street in Mohenjodaro with a drain was seen, and when they saw it, they were amazed by the level of hygiene and the level of construction which was maintained. Before we come to these drains and the level of development, let's write about few facts regarding the Indus Valley civilization and the topic which we left in the last part, because I need to give you some dictation regarding the sources also. So from that dictation, I'll connect the topic. Okay. So kindly write, start it from a new page. Please write a small note, radiocarbon dating. Radiocarbon dating. Please write. Carbon 14 is a weak radioactive isotope. Carbon 14 is a weak radioactive isotope of carbon. Carbon 14 is a weak radioactive isotope of carbon, also known as radiocarbon. Also known as radiocarbon. Full stop. It is a method that provides age estimates. It is a method that provides age estimates of carbon-based materials. Of carbon-based materials that are found in a living organism. Living organism. Full stop. An age could be estimated by measuring the amount of carbon 14. An age could be estimated by measuring the amount of carbon 14 present in the sample. Carbon 14 present in the sample and comparing this against comparing it against an internationally used reference standard. Internationally used reference standard. Full stop. Okay. Now understand what you have written. Basically, radiocarbon dating is a method through which we try to get the age of a substance. If there is any organic material, if there is any organism, you can find out the age. Like, let's say we found few bones in a site. How will we know that how old are they? From which particular age they are? They are from Paleolithic age or Neolithic age or Indus Valley civilization or later Vedic era. So to know it, you need to calculate the date. And how will you calculate? By calculating the isotopes of carbon. Okay. So carbon 14 will be calculated here. That how much amount of carbon 14 is there in that material. And that will be compared with an international standard. Okay, because internationally for each and everything, there is a data that they have made a list of every point. And they have given all the details of amount of carbon in different kinds of organic materials. And by calculating it, you can simply derive that how old it is or how long it survived. Fine. Now write the next paragraph in the same point. The history of climate and vegetation. The history of climate and vegetation is known through the examination of plant residues, 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 plant residues, and especially through pollen analysis. And especially through pollen, POLLEN, pollen analysis. Okay. One more point, understand that there is one more dating method which is known as dendrochronology, in which what they do, if you look at a tree, there will be rings. So every year, one new ring adds. Okay, one new ring adds on. So it is an annual ring, you can say. Annually, you will get one extra ring in a tea log. So let's say this is a tree, and if you cut it, you will get a log of the tree, and in that log, you would be able to see the rings. So if you look at any wooden chair also, you'll find some, wooden rings, tree rings in it. So just by counting these rings, you can get the age of any wooden material or any wood log or thing which is made out of or carved out of the wood. Here, when we come about the wooden carving, just understand that in the modern age, you will find that many wooden structures were made. So Megasthenes, when he saw it, because Megasthenes, he was a Greek ambassador, when he came to the Mauryan Empire, when he was staying in Patliputra, he saw the palaces and he wrote about everything. But we can't, those things were not preserved, right? So we don't have that construction which is still living today, because wooden things are perishable. So they all got perished. They all are destroyed now. But how it was there in India, from where it came? It came when wood was in abundance. How wood will be in abundance? When the forests will be cut down. When forests, or you can say deforestation will be there, then you will get the abundance of wood. The carpentry and new business will emerge. And all this happened in the later Vedic era. And the wooden carving or the wooden art was very much inspired in India from Iran. Okay, there is a town in Persepolis in Iran, from where we used to get a lot of inspirations of wooden sculptures and wooden, carving, wooden structures. And India used to copy it. We had a great level of trade with Iran at that time. I'll come to it when we will discuss the Mauryan age. Just when I was discussing wood with you, so I thought to have a point here. Interconnection is very important. A 360-degree approach is important. Because see, you will get all the kind of material which is very readily available on Telegram or any other website. If you Google it, you will get many free PDFs. And I know that already there are many NCERT series and lectures which is already there, available on YouTube. But my duty is to give you something else, to give you some extra points. A new, detail should be added to your notebook today. So I am on that particular path. So I'll be discussing those things with you in which you will get some new perspective. Lecture is important. Content is not important, because content you will find everywhere. You can have books, you can buy books. but the level of understanding, analysis, depth of the study will be only provided to you through the lecture and explanation. So it's very important for you to attend the classes regularly and interact with them. You can always comment. You can always discuss your point of view. Fine. I hope you have written it. Now, please write the next point. Put a new subheading. The Stone Age. We didn't write about Stone Age, right, in the last class. So we will write about it now. Please put the heading, the Stone Age. First subheading, Human Evolution. Human Evolution. Please write. The Earth is approximately 4,000 million years old. The Earth is approximately 4,000 million years old. Full stop. The evolution of its crust developed in 4 stages. The evolution of its crust developed in 4 stages. Full stop. The 4th stage is called as the Quaternary stage. Quaternary. Quaternary. N-A-R-Y. Quaternary, comma, which is divided into Pleistocene. 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 And Holocene. Holocene. Pleistocene and Holocene. Full stop. Next point. Man is said to have appeared on the earth. Man is said to have appeared on the earth in the early Pleistocene. Comma, when true ox means what? Real ox, okay? True ox, comma, true elephants and true horses also originated. True ox, true elephant and true horse also originated. Next one. Please write. Next subheading, Prehistoric India. Prehistoric India. Okay. Here, under it, please write. Right. We have 3 phases of Stone Age. 3 phases of Stone Age. Number 1. Please write. Number 1. Paleolithic Age. Paleolithic Age. From 2 million years ago to 12,000 BC. 2 million years ago to 12,000 BC, which is further divided into Lower Paleolithic, Middle Paleolithic and Upper Paleolithic. Lower Paleolithic, Middle Paleolithic and Upper Paleolithic. Please write the date of Lower Paleolithic. Roughly, these dates are rough dates. Lower Paleolithic from 5 lakh to 50,000 BC. 5 lakh to 50,000 BC. 50,000 BC. Okay. Then Middle Paleolithic, 50,000 to 40,000 BC. Age of Middle Paleolithic is 50,000 to 40,000 BC. Third, Upper Paleolithic. Upper Paleolithic, 40,000 to 10,000 BC. 40,000 to 10,000 BC. Okay. And then came the Mesolithic age, which was around 12,000 BC. Fine. So please write Mesolithic age 12,000 BC to 10,000 BC. 12,000 BC to 10,000 BC. So Mesolithic age is a transitional age between the Upper Paleolithic age and Neolithic age. Then write about the Neolithic age. Neolithic age, New Stone Age, starts from 10,000 BC to 5,000 BC. 10,000 BC to 5,000 BC. Fine. Rest I have already explained. I gave you the flow chart in the last class, so I will not make you write again all those points because that is of no use. Let me just give you some dictation regarding few proto-history cultures. Okay, please write in the next subheading types of pottery. Types of pottery. Number 1, ochre colored pottery, OCHERE, ochre colored pottery. OCP, this is also known as OCP culture / OCP culture, OCP, from 2000 to 1500 BC. 2000 to 1500 BC. 2000 to 1500 BC. Okay. Second type of pottery is black and red pottery. Black and red pottery, in bracket write the timeline, from about 2000 BC onwards. From about 2000 BC onwards. Okay, write 2 lines about OCP. OCP culture flourished in this one, The OCP culture, flourished in long stretch of area from Saharanpur in Uttar Pradesh, Saharanpur district of Uttar Pradesh, to Sefai in Etawah district. Sefai in Etawah district of Uttar Pradesh. So from Saharanpur to Sefai, we had the OCP culture. Next point. The OCP people were junior contemporaries of the Harappans. The OCP people were junior contemporaries of the Harappans. There was barter system between OCP people and the bronze using Harappan. There was barter system between the OCP people and the bronze using Harappan. Next point. This is a red slip ware. What is OCP? Okay. OCP means red ware, lal matka. So please write. This is a red slipped ware, often painted in black and mainly represented in vase forms. Vase, V-A-S-E, vase forms. This pottery was one medium grained clay, under fired and has a wash of ochre orange to red in color, ochre orange to red in color, and is inclined to rub off, Okay, so गेरुआ color होता है जैसे, it's like that, गेरुआ color, गेहुआ, or kesari plus red color. If you mix it, you will get that OCP color. Okay. Next, please write black and red ware, BRW. Sorry, one more point about OCP, please write. The OCP sites produced copper figures and objects. The OCP sites produced copper figure and objects, and that's why they are also known as copper hoard culture. Copper hoard culture. Okay. So when we talk about the proto-history, we need to understand the point that copper hoard culture and OCP culture are same. Now, what is this pottery culture? Why we call it OCP? Why not we define it with anything else? Like we divided Stone Age into Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic. Then we discussed the Metal Age also, Copper Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age. But when we talk about the Copper Age and when we go through that transition from copper to bronze, we have a point where we have few potteries culture. So as they are defined by their potteries, wherever that kind of pottery is found. So that's why we gave it with that name of pottery, and we named the culture like that. So to have a clear demarcation of the area of the site and the findings. Fine. So that's why we call it OCP culture. Then the next is red and black ware culture. This is again a culture where you will find the red and black wares, and these wares are very, very important because these potteries will have a different kind of lifestyle. They will have a different kind of tradition. Their way of living, their way of trading will be very different from OCP. That's why they are divided on the basis of pots and the color of pots. Right? Please write the next time. The next point is black and red ware, BRW culture. BRW, black and red ware. Under it, please write. BRW were sandwiched between. BRW were sandwiched between OCP and painted grey ware, PGW. OCP and painted grey ware. Basically, we found OCP culture, then BRW, black and red ware culture, then the PGW, means painted grey ware culture. So, PGW, painted grey ware sites, will be also discussed with you, where you will see a very new level of urbanization when we will come to the painted grey ware culture. But before coming to it, we need to discuss BRW. So please write, BRW was sandwiched between OCP and PGW cultures. In PGW, you can write in bracket painted grey ware. Painted grey ware cultures like Ahar, Banas, Ahar, AHAAR, Ahar is a name of site. Banas, BANAS, Ahar dash Banas showed the presence of black and red ware pottery. Showed the presence of black and red ware pottery. They were found in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Bihar. They are found in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Bihar. Full stop. But at sites like Hastinapur and Alamgirpur, BRW is found along with PGW. BRW is found along with PGW, painted grey ware sites. So we can have ochre colored potteries also, Gehua potteries, Lal Matke. We can have BRW, black and red ware, Kale or Lal Matke. We can have painted grey ware, in which grey color के जो मटके हैं उनको paint किया गया है, painted grey ware. So that's why these three pots are having three different types of culture wherever they are found. Fine. Write the next time. Put a small subheading, limitations of Chalcolithic culture. Limitations of Chalcolithic culture. Chalcolithic people would not make full use of domestic animals as they were slaughtered for food, and not milked for drink and dairy projects. And not milked, MILKED. They were not milking the animals, they were not using it for milk, they were just slaughtering the animals to eat. I'll repeat the point. Chalcolithic people could not make full use of domestic animals as they were slaughtered for food and not milked for drink and dairy projects. Chalcolithic people living in black cotton soil area, Chalcolithic people living in black cotton soil area of central and western India, of central and western India did not practice much of cultivation. Though slash and burn cultivation was practiced. Though slash and burn cultivation was practiced. Next point. There are traces of large number of children buried. There are traces of large number of children buried. बहुत से बच्चों को दफनाया गया है. Comma, which indicates lack of nutrition, which indicates lack of nutrition and outbreak of epidemics and outbreak of epidemics. Okay, now as we have discussed everything about the Stone Age, and we have discussed few cultures like OCP also and BRW. Now the next stage which you need to understand here is that we will find many Harappan sites, and in different Harappan towns you will see a different level of speciality. Like Dholavira had many dockyards. Lothal was the Manchester of Indus Valley civilization. In Banavali, radial pattern of streets were followed. In Alamgirpur, it was the easternmost site. So every site will have a different level of development. Ropar in Punjab had a burial in which dog was buried with a human in a pit burial. So each and every site is important. Now, when we talk about IVC, Indus Valley Civilization, it is a part of your proto-history, and here you need to understand a point that how different was IVC and how it was a complete transition when we come to the Vedic era. Okay, very important. You will see that in between around 1500 BC, some changes will be there. Okay, few changes will come. From 2700 BC, you will see the starting of IVC. The mature phase will be there. Towns will develop, sites will develop, many new things will come up. And then around 1500 BC, it declined. There are many reasons for it, but there is no single theory. It can be an earthquake, maybe flood, maybe some epidemic, or maybe the invasion of Aryans. But after 1500 BC, we see the journey of Vedic era. When we come to Vedic era is also divided into two parts. Basically, Vedic era is time from 1500 BC to 600 BC. Okay, and in short, I will just discuss it with you, because in the next class I will discuss the Vedic age, later Vedic and early Vedic. That will be covered in the next class. I'll just give you a small flowchart to understand the transition from IVC to Vedic era in India. So basically you will find that Vedic era is divided into two parts. If we divide this particular time, you will have 2 points: early Vedic era and later Vedic era. Okay, in early Vedic era, it is also known as Rig Vedic age, and later Vedic era will have 3 other Vedas which were composed: Samved, Yajurved and Atharvaved. Okay, so time period of early Vedic era is 1500 BC to 1000 BC. Time period of later Vedic era is 1000 BC to 600 BC. Now, what happened in 1000 BC which made this big level of difference? So, basically, in between of early Vedic and later Vedic era, around 1000 BC, we found iron in India. Iron was discovered. With iron, we got iron ploughs, iron axes, iron weapons, and many new technical developments, due to which the life will change. Society, polity, economy, everything will change. The development of Varna system will come. Okay? There will be a hierarchy in the society. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. That will be here. That kind of discrimination is not here. In early Vedic era, people were simple. Okay? So we will discuss the differences, how it got differentiated, why iron played such a vital role. We will discuss it. But before coming to it, let's come backward. Let's see IVC, because we are discussing proto-history, right? So in IVC, you will find that here people were living a urban life. They were living an urban life. But here in this particular early Vedic age, people had a tribal life. They were nomadics, they were herders. Look at the history of India. That's why I say that it's going backward. From the urban life, urban India, you get to see a tribal life, nomadic herders again. Why? The question why here comes because it's completely not clear for us, and it's not easy to understand that why we got underdeveloped again. So much of development was there, so many things got found, but why it was not utilized by these people? Because it was not known to them. They came from outside. It was not their culture. Okay, they had cavalry, they had better weapons, they had pastures. Cattle were more important for them, and that's why they wanted to live like that only. This kind of tendency and mindset was there. Also, they were not much aware of the lifestyle and the urban, traditions of IVC, because for them, it was like destruction of their enemies and starting a new way of life. For example, if you ask, if you go to the rural areas and if you have old relatives, or if you can talk to old people in the rural areas, you'll find that they are not really very eager to come and live in a urban life. They don't like it. Even if the rural area is underdeveloped, even if it is having so many backwardness, but they enjoy that society. They have a mindset to live in that way only. They feel like they are better and they are more pure, they are more happy. They will never love the lifestyle of coming in an urban area, living in a flat or an apartment. No. They still have that mentality of keeping their things on their own, and in rural lifestyle, they still enjoy it. Fine. So, this mentality was still here. Also, you will find that India will see urbanization after many years later, when painted grey ware sites will be discovered. Okay. Second urbanization will come to India then. This is first urbanization. IVC is first urbanization. So when we talk about the urban life of IVC, we need to write about the sites, important sites of Indus Valley civilization. That's why this topic I was doing with you. If you remember, we came till this particular part, right? We were discussing the cities. Fine. So I was discussing this with you. So here only I wanted you to explain few points which we will be writing also. We'll make a chart of each and every site, and I'll be giving you the special details for exams from every site of Harappa. But before coming to it, understand how the life used to be. Okay, how the things were there. So basically the Harappan settlements, all the Harappan settlements, they had a small citadel. okay, which was in the western part of the city mostly. And here, structures were big and it was built for special public purpose. The great bath was also there in the citadel area only. The largest building excavated at the Harappa was the great granary. So Harappa had a great granary means they also had surplus agriculture, right? It shows a better way of life. It shows a developed way of life. The most striking feature of Harappa was that the well-planed drainage system was there. Very well-planed drainage system, very nice drains, well-covered drains were there. And these drains are important because they had cesspits, so that on regular intervals a man can open a cesspit and go inside, clean it, and all these drains were interconnected with different houses in the area. So good level of interconnection, good level of grid pattern were there. How bricks were arranged to build Harappan walls? Look at this. Interlocking pattern was found in the bricks so that they are more strong. If you look at the great path, you can see the level of interconnection and interlocking in the brick laying system. So they had a great strategy of construction. Fine. They had a good level of construction strategy. Now we will write about some major sites of Indus Valley civilization. Put this subheading: major sites of Indus Valley civilization. Now we need to write about the major sites. Fine. So what I'm planning is to give you this dictation in the next class, where we will discuss some major sites of IVC, and we will also know the difference of early Vedic and later Vedic era. Fine. There we will also have a good understanding of this transition from IVC, the urban life, to a Vedic life. Okay. Now, when I say Vedic life, don't understand in this way that the culture was inferior. No, culture can never be inferior. In civilization, you can see a way of life, but culture is followed according to the geography and the climatic condition of the area. Fine. So we will see how the climatic condition was different and from where they got adaptations. So we'll continue from here in the next class. I hope you enjoyed the session, guys. This is something which we will be doing again. I'll connect the dots from here only. And if you have any doubts, please let me know in the comment section. I'm planning to add some MCQs and PYQs also in the session so that you connect yourself from there. Okay. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you so much for coming. See you then. Take care. Bye-bye.